Good morning. We are so happy to have Natalie Stearns, Wilma Dunkle, and Barbara Kurtz presenting this session called Creating the Ultimate Virtual Resource Center, How to Make It Your Students' Favorite Online Resource at PSMLA's first ever virtual conference. My name is Jennifer Campbell, and I will be hosting today along with John Grande. This session is being recorded. If you're tweeting or posting on social media, we welcome you to include @PSMLA1 and hashtag PSMLA21 so we can see and share all of your thoughts. Also, you are welcome to view the Twitter handles for our presenters that are right now visible on the screen, and if you would like to tag them as well. For attendance purposes, please be sure that your displayed name matches the name used to register for the conference. If you are unsure how to do so, you can send me a message in the chat and I will be happy to provide you with instructions. Please join me in welcoming Natalie Stearns, Wilma Dunkle, and Barbara Kurtz to PSMLA.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Natalie Stearns, and I'm a teacher at Meadville High School, which is in Northwest Pennsylvania in Crawford County. And I'm joined by my colleagues. I teach French. My colleague, Barbara Kurtz, who is a Spanish teacher, and Wilma Dunkle, who is the German teacher here in the high school. So we're the only 3 language teachers who are in the high school. And so last year we had the privilege of attending the Tech Garden event that took place on a Saturday. And I had a takeaway that was really inspiring for me, and I need to give credit to Sherry Garrett. She went through her, I don't know what to call it, but she had like her virtual resource center, or what I call our virtual resource centers. She had her own classroom set up online where it was clickable, and she could do things such as her students could interact online. And of course, we were in the midst of the pandemic at that point. And at that point, I said to Barb and Wilma, we need to do something like this. This would be awesome, but this is a pipe dream. This is going to take a lot of work, and I'm not sure even if we could accomplish this. So in the back of my mind, this is something that I kind of wished to do. So when it came up time to have our proposals and our dreams of what we might want to do to present at the PSMLA conference for this year, we toyed around with maybe presenting about the Virtual Resource Center, except we realized that that meant we all had to build our own Virtual Resource Center. And so we set upon that goal, and it ended up being quite a process. So we're going to show you the process today, and we thank Sherry Garrett for inspiring us to do so. Barb and Wilma and I are going to show you how we did this. We're going to share our own resources with you today, and we're going to show how we've implemented this and what it's done for us so far in our own classrooms. Okay, so this basically, when we've done this, this isn't sort of a one and done thing. This isn't something that you just put up and it's finished and it's in its totality. This is something that I think is still for all of us a work in progress, and it's never probably going to be done completely. I'm not sure any of us are completely at peace with how it is. There's always something, I think, that we're all, and this has to do with teaching in general, that there's something we can always improve upon. So there are things that I still want to tweak with my Virtual Resource Center. And the beautiful thing about this is it is a working document, and there's still things that we can go in and it can grow over time, it can completely change. And furthermore, we invite you to learn from this and to steal ideas from this. I think that's the best thing about our profession, is that we can, just like from Sherry, when she she showed this beautiful idea. I have only one thing that I remembered she put on there, which were books that the children can go and read. And so the very first thing I wanted to put in my virtual learning center or resource center was books for the children to read. This is the only thing I remembered. But ours have a lot more, but steal from us our ideas that we've had.
It's
We invite
definitely
you
a
to do that.
cyclical process. Like you do it and then you develop it. And then you see, for example, Natalie, Wilma, and I really see each other's and like, oh, I should put that in. So it's definitely a cyclical process. And we invite you to jump into that too. And just go ahead and take from us what we do.
I feel like ours are quite similar because we worked sort of in tandem. And the three of us sort of said, oh, that's a great idea. I do that too, or my children would really enjoy that. So our students are somehow sort of experiencing the same thing in all the languages. Okay. So we all can realize that our profession has changed a lot in the last couple of years. We've had virtual snow days. This is a new thing that when it snows, we still have to go to school online. We can maybe stay home. We have dealt with virtual and hybrid learning all at the same time. There has been a great deal of student stress, and of course there has been a lot of teacher stress navigating a changing environment and navigating just things that are changing from day to day. We have a lot of student absences. We have children who are quarantined who have to be from home, learn from home, or we even have, all virtual learning for the very first time in our careers. So this is something we haven't ever seen before. And of course, the ever favorite substitute shortages, where when we have to be out of work, there is no one to cover our classes. And so we feel that the virtual learning center that we have set up helps to solve some of these problems. And my students have found a lot of joy, which is something that I think we need to bring back to school a little bit, have found a lot of joy in just spending some time and settling down and clicking on our virtual resource centers. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. Okay, Wilma, your turn.
Thank you. So yeah, what and why? Why are we here? What are we building? What are we creating? So there are several different things that you're going to find are going to be where this is going to be particularly useful. One of the main things is just having a home base for students to find what they need. I have my resource center set as my homepage on Canvas. So they can, anytime they get into my class on Canvas, that's the first thing that pops up. And so they have that readily available, ready to go. In some cases, I found this particularly useful for students who just want to explore. I have some resources on there that I never particularly point out, but they can, they're there. There are a lot of links in there. There pretty much every object is a link to something else. And so there's a lot for them that they can, if they just start clicking, they're going to get into on their own. And I also, I particularly like it because students find the resource to answer some of their own questions. I'm only one person. And so I like when I can direct them somewhere where they can find what they need. And again, that structure that comes with it has been very useful for our students. Just like with those classroom routines, anytime you can establish routines where students know exactly what they need to do or where they need to go to find information, that just takes things off of my plate. And that's something I like this year more than ever. And it's also a great way to engage remote learners. We have, I mean, this is an ongoing thing throughout the year. We are fully in person. However, we frequently have contact tracing where we lose students for a week or better, or even people who do get sick and they're out for a period of time, but they're not so sick that they can't work. This is a good place for them to just jump in. So the shot down low on the front right there of your screen, you'll see is my very first go at a virtual resource center. It's pretty bare bones. Had a few links in there, not a whole lot to work with. But again, just as Natalie said at the beginning, this is a constant work in progress. And so the one that you see, or the one that you will see, you'll find looks a little bit different, but I took some of the initial work from here and just let that develop. All right, so where do we get started? That's I'm going to leave that to you, Barb. Pass the torch over.
Alrighty, well, the first step, or at least what we did first, was we created a Bitmoji, and there are several of these that are really helpful. One of the things that we'd recommend is that you start by taking a selfie and let it kind of help you. And then once you've created a Bitmoji, and if you've never done that before, we do have a tutorial video. We're not going to play it just for the sake of time, but it's available when we share the resources later. You'll have access to this link. It'll walk you through it. Once you've created a Bitmoji, then we created a series of friendmojis for this presentation, because once you get started, it's pretty simple in general. And I'm going to send that back to you, Wilma.
Thank you. So after you have your Bitmoji, you're going to jump into your actual classroom. So where to start? When I first saw this idea, I said, I have no clue where to start, and YouTube helped me out. So really, that's the tutorials I found on YouTube walked me through it. But to give you a quick overview, we don't want to spend a whole ton of time on this, because really when it comes down to it, you're going to have to slow down and take your time and try and then retry and then try again. But I just to give you the basic premise. So when you start, you're going to work off of Google Slides. I have become so familiar with Google Slides over the past few years, and I really am kind of impressed with how many different things we can do in Google Slides. So to that, I mean, that's where you start. And then it's really easy to look up a background that's already pre-made. If you see on your screen there, I have a screenshot of where to find it. If you go under slide in Google Slides and you hit change background, it allows you to search for a picture. It allows you to search for things that are, established as a background, where you have a wall and a floor, like make it look like a room. You can play around with that a lot based on whatever you're looking for. But the beauty is it's done for you. You don't have to create that part, and it sets it as your background, and then you can pile things on top of that, layer things over top of that. So for pictures and graphics, you saw in the little example one from mine a little bit ago, you can bring in all kinds of pictures, whatever makes it your classroom, and I would encourage it to make it yours. And I think you'll see when we look at the example ones how Natalie's is a bit different from mine, is a bit different from Barb's. The bones of them really end up being similar, but there are some things that are a little bit more unique to each of us, and I think that's important with our students. So adding pictures really becomes pretty simple. We would encourage you to consider using Unsplash. Unsplash is a site where all of the pictures are made available. There's no copyright to them. Anybody can use them. And so that is a great place to find, and really, I think, a pretty impressive cache of pictures where you can find pretty much anything you might want to include in your classroom. Again, we did link a couple of tutorial videos to help you, go back through this when the time comes, and we'll share all of this with you in a little bit. But there's one important step, and you're going to find, and that's removing a background to a picture so that you're not overlaying awkward pictures on top of each other. So Barb, if you would advance to the next slide, I'll give you a demonstration there, show you how that works. So there's a website called remove.bg, and to help you remember it, BG for background. Remove.bg, you can upload any photo that you have, whether you found it on Unsplash, you took it yourself, whatever photo you have saved on your computer, you can upload that. And as you see in the picture, that's exactly what it does. It just removes the background. So you have freestanding, I don't know, well, in this case, plants, and I have quite a few of those in my room too, in my class or virtual classroom, I guess, and physical classroom. But you can remove the background so that you can layer things the way it looks like a, make it look like a normal room. Good, and that's remove.bg will kind of walk you right through it. You upload a picture, you re-download it. It's not going to have a background, the exact same picture, but won't have the background.
It was pretty amazing. The first time I used it, I couldn't believe what it would do. I did have a question in the chat asking to share the resources, and I'm actually going to paste a link that's to a PDF of everything that we shared today, and that'll be open up, and then you'll be able to open that up and get all of our links in there. So I'll share that here momentarily. Sorry to interrupt you, Wilma. I just wanted them to know I was not ignoring their comment.
Yeah, no worries at all. Jump in whenever.
Okay, moving on to your next page.
Thank you. Perfect.
Oh.
So how do you publish it? How do you get it out to where students can actually function with it? It's actually, again, ridiculously simple if you know the steps. So all you have to do once you have your product, you're happy with the links you have in there, or at least you're happy with your starting point, because like we said, this has grown a lot, it's changed a lot, it's developed a lot. But once you're happy with what you have and you want to share it with your students, all you have to do, it's this simple, it's kind of ridiculous. Click on File in Google Docs, hit Publish to Web, and then it's going to give you link options. The one I like most is taking the embed code. And like I said, I use this as my homepage for Canvas. We use Canvas as our LMS. And I go to the homepage for Canvas, and I hit the embed option and throw that code right in there. It just pops up. It looks exactly like my slide does in Google Slides. All the links are valid, everything like that. It's no, I mean, it works out pretty simply. We did include links for how to do this very same thing with Google Classroom. And with Schoology, I am not familiar with Schoology at all. And I have limited familiarity with Google Classroom. We haven't been using that in a few years now. But they're all there, so hopefully that'll be helpful depending on what you use for your LMS. Now, the one thing that I will caution you on, depending on which links you include, it may be important to make a different or a copy of your resource center for each of your classes. For example, for me, when I use, for Canvas, when I direct my students to where to find the work for a specific day, I always say, I want you in modules, go to modules. I have it set up by the week, each date. It's very easy to find, but if they don't go to modules, they may miss something. So I always direct them there. So in my virtual reality classroom, I have a link to modules for Canvas, but of course it will only work in that particular class. So for that reason, I end up having to make, 6 different 6 different copies of this to change that link. So it is, it's pretty easy though, because once you have it made, you can just make a copy of it and then just change specific links that you need. The other cool thing, if you're embedding this, it updates as you update it. So it simplifies the process a lot there.
So I guess what you could say is that since you're using Google Slides, when you update it, you go back to your original Google Slides doc. And what I love, I think that was just the question in the chat that we just saw. So you go up, you have like your virtual resource center saved in Google Slides, the original, and you've saved that out to Canvas, but there's like an embed link that is linked to that Google Slides file. So when I go and add something, I go to that original document, do the updates in that document, and then all of my Canvas classes have been updated. I don't know if that makes sense to the person who put the chat up. So it's not like I have to go and I was afraid the first time I did it, like, do I have to change all my classes? No, because Google updates, you know, and then when I update that one original document, all of my things are updated. It's slick as can be. So that is beautiful, that once you've done, it's like front loaded. Once you've done all the work and you get it up there and get it onto there, it's beautiful.
Right, and I think the question, like, can you use PowerPoint? I'm wondering if you could, if you ran it through OneDrive, if it would do the same sort of thing. I haven't played with that, so I cannot answer that definitively. But
Barb, I see Laura says that you are able to do that. Laura, if you care to chime in, you know, feel free. But yeah, our experience with that is, well, personally, zero.
Right,
Yeah.
right, a big goose egg.
Yeah.
With PowerPoint, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, so the way that I would think about it that would be easiest is that you just, when you go to, you know, save your PowerPoint, just save it as a PDF, kind of like how you did with your presentation. That way the links are still active, but the only thing is then every time that you would change something, you would have to re-upload it.
Right.
So that's why, you know, honestly, for me, Google Slides has always been easier because of that, publishing the link. And then if you just go back and make any sort of changes, it automatically updates. So I just think that
That's
saves
what
you
I
some
love.
time.
Yeah.
Right, right. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to advance to the next screen. And this is a sample virtual resource center that we made just for this presentation. You can see Natalie, Wilma, and me here. And up at the top, these flags are live links to our virtual classrooms or our virtual resource centers. So if you find something that you like today, feel free to take and take our ideas. Obviously, we prefer that you use your own Bitmoji, but hey, whatever moves you. So Natalie, I think you're going to introduce yours first. So I'm going to click on the French flag because Natalie's our French teacher. And we're going to open up in her virtual resource center. I'm going to click on present, but you'll notice that we'll be in and out of slides. So I apologize for all of the shifting screens. And you know what, I didn't have to do that because I already had it loaded. Okay, Natalie, here you go.
Okay. I'm not going to click on everything, but I'll just highlight what everything is. So I will say this is a work in progress. The map, and Barb, you don't have to click on it.
Okay.
The map is a link to Google Earth, and Wilma had linked to UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So I too did that. I stole it. We did that a lot. So, and the students have loved that. So like on a Friday, if you have 15 extra minutes, I just click on that link or tell them to click on the link. And for an exit ticket at the end of the period, they just send me something they learned, which is cool. The posters are links that I'm still working on. I'm not entirely happy with what's behind those, so I'm gonna leave those alone. I love the posters, but the links behind those just don't make me happy yet. The books, the first set of books is a link to an approved word-to-word translator that I allow them to use, but I'm not, those are resources. So the Eiffel Tower, I guess you can click onto that, Barb. Those are the virtual tours, and we've done virtual tours a few times. I sometimes just do those when the kids seem like sad or not bored, but just like when they kind of are stressed, or like I just take 5 or 10 minutes. Also, I was introducing a chapter, and on the front of the chapter there was Mont Saint Michel, and I thought, you know, I have a virtual tour on this. Let's take a virtual tour. It was really off the cuff. We watched a video. The kids loved it. It took 6 minutes. And I said, why don't you go to, or let's use my homepage. And the kids were thrilled that they got, we clicked on the Eiffel Tower, we went here, did this, and it was fast. But they were thrilled with it. So this is totally a sub-day page. Okay, so you can return
All right,
home.
I'm going to comment on this, and that this is one of the things that confused me when we started this, is how do I link all these things and have the kids not get lost? But this is just another page in Google Slides, and when I click on this, it takes me back to the home page, and that's brilliant. So I appreciate Natalie kind of walking me through that process.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and that was an exercise in futility, but we finally figured it out. It's just, it takes a while. The lamp. My lamp is my favorite. These are some songs that make me happy. I have found that my students sometimes just feel depressed or overworked or sad, or they need something. So I will play them some Chopin, or I will play them calm.com, or they need a song that uplifts them. And these are some of my uplifting songs that make me happy. We had a dance party in French 4 one day. A girl was crying, and the kids, I didn't dance, but I let them dance, and it made them happy. And it took the last 6 or 7 minutes of class, but I think a girl didn't go home from school because she was happy. And this is changing my job. This is making me happier, this page. So I have Chopin playing in the background at least once a week. And this is not something I've had before, but I'll say to the kids, do you need some Chopin? And they'll say, yes, please. They beg for it. And it has a pretty picture that just comes up. So this isn't something I've done for them before, but I realize that we need it more maybe now than ever. So the kids will ask for the lamp songs very often. Okay, next. I'm kind of proud of, I can't take credit for this, but there is for any French teachers out there, there's Pour Papa en Français is a website. So I give the kids, we go to that website a lot. They have really cool posters. And of course, they encourage you to use these posters. So if you click on this, this takes my vocab bar.
Listen,
Yeah, if you have to click on the easel itself.
I knew
Thank you.
that. Sorry about that.
This is a compilation of a lot of their little vocab. It may take a second
Yeah,
to
there
load.
was a-
But so we have been making vocab notebooks, and we use this as kind of like and it's 20 something pages of just their little, and so, we've gone to the website a lot to look for things. But I've pulled some of their things off, and they are in no particular order. But when the students are asking, do you know the words for, or do we know the words for this? I'll say, well, why don't we look at the easel? And so they have the extra vocabulary for this. And so we've made units already out of some of this stuff. And it's just kind of fun. My upper level kids like this, but my French 2 kids are loving this as well. So this is something that, and it's really current, it's super helpful, and they're really cute. So this is something I'm loving at the moment. This is actually the #1 thing I wanted to use my BRC for. Okay. I have games. I have French music and podcasts with the record player. I have some websites that we can go to. And then if you click on me, you don't have to click on me, but it's just like a bio of me and my sad little life. So that is my virtual resource center.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to pull up mine, and I'm not going to go through everything simply because you've already seen, like I said, we've kind of just stolen from each other. This is me. My map takes us to different map related activities. And again, if you use that PDF link that we shared in the chat, and we'll make that available through the PSMLA conference website as well. You can get to all these links. You're welcome to use them. This is a bio. I've got games linked here. This is for the coffee cup is for podcasts. The book takes us to some reading materials online that you can do. The computer, I'm going to click on that one. Our students' laptops are not really accent friendly. And so I put these on here so they can actually copy and paste them in if they're typing because it's so hard. And we had an add-on in Google Easy Accents, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's blocked and sometimes it's not. So that just made things helpful. I have a cat. There's no cat in my classroom. I don't even own a cat. I used to. But if you click on this, I just wanted a cat in my picture. It takes you to a YouTube place where there's like funny cat videos. I thought, why not give them something to laugh about? And then my rug is my only one I'm going to share, Frau, unless you have a plan to share this one. Hearing no objection, I'm going to click on my rug. If the students need help with translation, I have this page here, and yes, it does say Google Translate at the top, and I know that that is everyone's nightmare. In fact, I was lecturing my kids yesterday that Google Translate is an unfaithful friend who will stab you in the back at the first opportunity, but they still try it. So if they choose this as their translator, I apologize in advance. This is really silly. But no, we don't use Google Translate in this classroom. And then they have to go back and look for another dictionary. And so these are all acceptable resources that they can use. And so that's kind of the tour of my virtual classroom. Again, you have the links. You can click on everything you want there. And I'm going to turn that over to Frau here.
Just to tell you how much we beg, borrow, and steal from each other, I pretty much did the exact same thing in mine. And I got to give Barb all the credit, but I wanted to steal that idea. I thought it was adorable. And it makes the kids laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, is way more likely to be able to do that. Not that she would do it, but likely to be able to do it.
Flip a few tables, right?
Go ahead, Frau. I'm ready.
It's all good. So for mine, I have a lot of the same, a lot of similar things. The top left, the picture is a link to email that is currently not functioning properly. Please don't click on it. I have to figure out how that works, but basically I wanted something for them to just have my email populate. So I haven't figured that out yet. But it's just a spot for them to get, or just have, advice, information, etc. There. The my photo is just a little bio, things about my story that I don't typically share, but if somebody wants to click and learn more, they can, whatever. And that's something that I'll add to in the future as well. And then back in the map there, I have a bunch of UNESCO list of preservation sites, like what are they in Germany and Switzerland and Austria, et cetera, the German speaking countries. And then I have, I do want to make a quick plug for the Friendship Connection. If any of you, I know some of you are German teachers. If you have not heard of the Friendship Connection, it is a remarkable exchange program, only for like a month long, so it's a little bit less of a commitment, so less intimidating for a lot of students. And it's a nonprofit, so their ultimate goal is to get people to Germany and get German students here. So no, I'm not paid to do that. No, I have no association with them beyond I've worked with them for about 10 years and the program is just remarkable. So yeah, okay, so the other things in there, you've got the pile of games there, just leads to some online options, some things kids can play, just when they're wanting to de-stress or whatever. The plants both go to just calming YouTube videos, or I use calm.com as well. And then the Zeit für eine Pause there in the middle, that is another just options for decompressing. There's some meditation videos. It's all auf Deutsch, so they're clicking on that. It's great. Take a short yoga break auf Deutsch. And then the other thing, okay, so yeah, the bottom books are just other sources for the classroom. You don't even need to click on it. It's, it includes links to the Friendship Connection and their virtual exchange program this year, and to the German Day experience through AATG. I have a lot of students who are getting excited about that, and it's just a good resource for them to go take a look at, okay, what are my options? How can I participate? And so rather than saying that 100 times when I see students, I can just direct them there, which is awfully convenient. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, the Canvas logo on the computer, I have a lot of students who, when they first start, they're like, okay, should I be in assignments? Should I be, where do I find what I need for today? I send them directly to modules. It's all, it's all organized there, and there's no question. So yes, this is the homepage to my Canvas, but I have that link there so they know they're, okay, modules is where I need to be, so I can find exactly what I need for the day. And I think that pretty much wraps mine up.
Okay, danke, Frau. Now we'll go
Gern
back to our visual
geschehen.
presentation and back to Nellie.
Okay, so if you're just starting and you're wondering, what are some things that I might want to share or add, include on my virtual resource center, we've come up with a short list. And we've mentioned many of them. Some acceptable online dictionaries, some music, and that could be music that you just want to play in the background. But on my virtual resource center, we have some songs that we sing in class. We have live radio links. We have some blogs and podcasts that the students can listen to. News sources like slow news in French or Spanish, whatever, German. Virtual field trips, websites. Barb has some class photos that she shares with her students that they've taken of each other, or fun pictures from class that she's included.
And they're not in there simply because we're sharing this with
Right.
everybody. But last year we were told on a Wednesday that we were going to be going hybrid on a Monday. So I did a last group activity with everybody, and one of those was taking class photos because they wouldn't see each other again in person for a long time. And that actually was really memorable. I wasn't sure what the kids would say, but they really bought into that. So that's definitely, I think, a good thing for building just community in the classroom.
Absolutely. And especially when we were hybrid, like the kids, sometimes some of their best friends it was alphabetical. So like if their friend was on a B day and they were on an A day, they really didn't see their friends in person for months. So that was difficult for them. So I think that was an awesome idea that you had, Barb. And just seeing photos, I know they have Snapchat and all of those things, but when we're together in class, you form a community. So that's just kind of nice, So if anybody has any other things they think, we brainstormed, gosh, did we brainstorm, right? We had like level 1 brainstorming, and then we had level 2, and then we came back in level 3.
Then we threw it all out, started over.
Yes. So it was, this is a commitment, but I feel like this is something that once you get to the mountaintop and you look back, this is something we'll always have, and it's awesome. Like, this is something we're so proud of once you've finally gotten it, but it's a time commitment, especially, but now you'll always have it. So is there anybody like out there who's listening that you can think of something that we've forgotten, or something you think that you could include that you want to add?
So I'll jump in here because I use the virtual classrooms a whole lot too. So like I have one that's for, special information. I have one that's like music and podcasts on like opposing sides, and like yoga. One of the other ones I have is just like important links to websites. But last year we had clubs be virtual, which I'm continuing with this year. So with Spanish Club, what I did was each month I had a different one. So you can also do something like that where like for this month, they're creating Ojos de Dios, like those God eyes. And so that one slide is all about creating that craft and like videos for that craft, or
That idea.
like
That's a great
next
idea.
month will be letters to veterans. So just having a slide that's about that and the organizations that they can send it to and examples and like things like that you can also do. So it doesn't have to be just like in the classroom. It could be like crafts or stuff to be promote. The Pulsera project could be another one that you can make it for if they want to get more involved community wise.
That's awesome. Thank you, Laura. I love that idea. Even like connecting them to club Canvas pages.
Mhm.
Awesome.
I have a suggestion as several of my students have come to me from the LGBTQ having questions about how to handle that in the world language classroom as far as, pronouns to use. So maybe a site that, helps students with information regarding that within their world language classroom. Even if there's not a lot of information, it's just being more inclusive.
Resources and where to find that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Donna.
I think we've all gotten probably questions about that ourselves. I know I have. So that's a great question.
Thank you. We have time for another one or
Yes.
two if anybody else has a suggestion. We're pretty much almost done. So if someone else has a great idea, we'd love to hear it. All
Or
right.
just questions in general about what we've done or how to do something or otherwise. We'd love to hear your questions or comments.
You will have a better chance when you finally tell them where they are.
Well, we want to thank you for your time today. Our contact information is on the screen again, although we forgot to put the PSMLA contact information. If you tweet there, feel free to tag PSMLA so they can see it as well. And you're welcome to contact us if you have questions, if you have a know-how sort of thing. We're more than happy to hear you. We work together. Like we're literally down the hall from each other. So if you ask one of us a question, all three of us will chime in if you'd like. We really thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Okay, on behalf of PSMLI, we want to thank everyone for attending this session with Natalie Stearns, Wilma Dunkle, and Barbara Kurtz. We welcome and encourage your feedback on our sessions. Please use the link in the PDF program or found in the chat to give this session feedback. I think that it should be posted in the chat shortly. And the recording of this session will be available to conference registrants after the event. As a reminder for teachers in Pennsylvania, if you would like Act 48 credit, you must complete the Act 48 reflection form. You can find that also in the PDF program. And the forms should be completed within 72 hours of this session. So thank you so much again and enjoy the rest of our virtual conference.
Thank you, everybody.
Before you go, can you see, I did put it in the chat. Can everybody see that?
No.
No,
For some reason,
No.
John, I have it right here. I'll throw it in.
All right, thank you. I think my computer just kind of froze here. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
all.
of course.
All right, thank you.